Hey there, and welcome back. I want to take a moment and say thank you for tuning in today and pressing that play button. Anna and I know that there are a lot of other things that you could be doing. So the fact that you've chosen to spend a little time following along with us just means the world to us. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you. I'm Mary Werdeman, along with Anna Rosa. And I want to welcome you back. And today we're going to kick off our second episode by discussing a little bit about inflammation. Well, maybe we'll be discussing a lot about inflammation, but we're going to be talking about inflammation. And just to kind of set the table for our podcast episode today, inflammation is such a broad topic and it's such a buzzword today. Everybody's talking about inflammation and reducing inflammation. And I guess I just kind of want to be clear that, inflammation isn't all bad. There are two really different types of inflammation. There is acute inflammation and chronic inflammation. And acute inflammation is something that we really need. Our bodies need to be able to address an acute injury. Like say you sprain your ankle, your body has an inflammatory response where it sends, increased blood and nutrients to that site to start the healing process. So acute inflammation is good because it signals your body that there's a problem here. We need to put out this fire. There's some healing that needs to happen. The issue that we have sometimes is that our bodies initiate an inflammatory response, and somewhere, because of different reasons, the body gets confused and the inflammatory response does not stop. So there is a continuous or chronic inflammatory response. And that is when we get into some difficult areas. So acute inflammation is helpful. Chronic, continuous inflammation, not so much. So with that, I want to throw it over to you, Anna. Tell us a little bit about, or a lot about, inflammation.
Hello, everyone. As Mary said, thank you so much for being here with us. And we are going to be talking about one of the topics that everybody in the world is talking about, inflammation. Why? Because chronic inflammation is a continuous stress in your body, and it's a cause of chronic diseases. Chronic diseases such as prediabetes, diabetes type 2, Alzheimer's or dementia, which is now called diabetes type 3. And as being chronic inflammation, we are able, through changing the way we live our lives, our actions, our thoughts, our behavior, to really reverse the inflammation by changing the strategies we use daily in our lives. So inflammation, what is the cause that is the major reason for inflammation in your body, in my body nowadays? It is insulin resistance. Insulin resistance has been considered the root cause of all the inflammation throughout your body, the majority of the inflammation throughout your body that is leading to detrimental development of chronic diseases. So how does it happen? It happens because we have different types of fat in our bodies. Some types of fat are good for your body, and other types of fat are detrimental to your body and to your health. So first of all, let's try to understand the types of fat in your body. If you close your eyes and you can imagine your abdomen, okay? Just look at your abdomen right now, and you're going to see your skin, and just beneath the skin, you have what it is called subcutaneous fat. The subcutaneous fat, which is beneath your skin up to the musculature in your abdomen, in your stomach, has two compartments. the most superficial one, superficial subcutaneous fat. And although people really want to be very skinny and not have any subcutaneous fat, the superficial subcutaneous fat is positive for your body. It's a fat that releases a substance called adiponectin. And this substance, adiponectin, has protective actions in your cardiovascular system. Superficial subcutaneous fat. Second compartment is the deep subcutaneous fat. The deep subcutaneous fat corresponds to your love handles. The deep subcutaneous fat is a poison to your body, and that's the fat that you want to attack. And it is not by doing surgery and removing it, because if you do surgery, you're going to remove the superficial, which is benefic, right? Beneficial to your body. So you want to do the strategies that we are going to discuss in our future podcasts to reduce the deep subcutaneous fat. So keep in mind, deep subcutaneous fat, poison to your body. Then you have your muscles. And then beneath your muscles, inside your belly, inside your abdomen, inside your stomach, the belly that is related to your beer that you drink every day, or maybe during the weekends, I don't know you, but that belly that fat that you have in your belly, that it's the beer belly, that's the visceral fat, extremely toxic. It's your invisible enemy inside your body. It's an ocean of fat surrounding your organs. Again, visceral fat. Go ahead, Mary.
I have a question, and I'm not sure if I'm just impatient. And you're getting there, but how does insulin resistance? How does that relate to? What's the relationship between the fat in your body? And maybe you're getting there. I was thinking that maybe someone listening might not really understand what insulin resistance actually is. And so I wasn't sure. Yeah. So, okay. All right.
No, I'll get there. I just wanted to. No, that's okay. We are talking like in our couch here with you all. So I just wanted you guys to understand a little bit the anatomic distribution in your body of the fat. So again, skin, superficial subcutaneous fat, good for your body, adiponectin, cardiovascular protection. Deep subcutaneous fat, your love handles, bad, toxic. Similar in property to the visceral fat. Where is the visceral fat? Inside your belly, below your muscles. The fat that you can feel in your belly as a hard fat, the fat that makes your abdomen look like as if you are pregnant, right?
That's the really dangerous one, even more so than the deep subcutaneous fat as well.
They are similar. They are similar in property.
Okay.
So then when you have a good amount of one, most likely you're going to have a good amount of the other one too. So the deep subcutaneous fat and the visceral fat, they walk together in toxicity to your body, in producing chronic inflammation, and they are related to insulin resistance, and I will get there. Other types of fat in your body that are also toxic, that are your enemies, your invisible enemies inside your body. Fat that surrounds your heart, and it's called ectopic fat. Fat that gets deposited in your liver, and that's when you have fatty liver or hepatic steatosis. And this fatty liver, with time, if you do not take action and work on reversing it, could develop liver inflammation, could develop liver fibrosis, and up to this level, you still could do something and it's reversible. When you start developing fibrosis, you will progress to cirrhosis if you do not do anything to change, and that's not reversible anymore. And cirrhosis, because of non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, which is the excess of fat, is the cirrhosis that you are causing in your liver because you have lots of liver lots of fat in your liver, and it's not related to alcohol abuse. So this could also lead to liver cancer. So ectopic fat. So again, superficial subcutaneous fat, good. Deep subcutaneous fat, bad. Visceral fat, bad, together with the deep subcutaneous fat. Fat around your heart, fat inside your liver, all of these are bad. And also fat inside your pancreas, which leads to dysfunction of your pancreas and diabetes mellitus. So where is the insulin resistance relation?
Well, before you go on, I think it's really interesting and shocking that when we think of visceral fat, even, or the deep subcutaneous fat in the love handles, we're thinking belly fat, right? We're just thinking the fat that's around our middle. But when you say that the fat is around our heart, around our other organs, that is, I don't think that until recently, the idea of that really just didn't kind of dawn on me. So
Yes.
I think that is something I kind of just wanted to highlight for a second, because if you're walking around and you think you've got, a few extra pounds that maybe you really should do something about, but, you'll get there, whomever. What you don't understand, or what I didn't really understand, is that is not just fat that's around your middle. That is fat that's compromising your health and the health of your organs. So
yes, and one thing that you said, maybe you get there, maybe you're going to work through your extra pounds, or well, I would say the longer you take to take action and to really work on improving your health, the longer you're getting exposed to the chronic inflammation from this fat, from the ectopic fat and the visceral fat. And the chronic inflammation is harder to reverse, and it has effects that are toxic to your body day in, day out, 24/7. So the longer you get to act, the longer you are exposed to this poison, right?
wow.
And it's really important to know that, because prediabetes, diabetes type 2, and dementia are exponentially increasing together with obesity, which is a pandemic. It's pandemic right now, right? The whole world. So it's really important to know about the effects of the chronic inflammation, because Alzheimer's or diabetes type 3 has been proven in new researches that before you have symptoms, the inflammation is already taking place in your brain up to 10 to 15 years before. So you have 10 to 15 years that your brain is suffering from chronic inflammation and depositing the protein that would lead to Alzheimer, which is the amyloid protein. So you have 10 to 15 years to act before you start losing your memory. And there is a research that has shown that by 2050, 50% of the elderly people will have dementia. So 1 in 2. That's horrifying. So you and I, we definitely need to take action, because again, before the symptoms of Alzheimer or dementia or diabetes type 3 starts, you have 10 to 15 years that the chronic inflammation is hurting your brain day in, day out, 24/7. And it is because of the inflammation that the visceral fat is the major root and major etiology, major cause. So how does that work related to insulin resistance, like Mary asked? So what happens is, in our society nowadays, the majority of us don't eat healthy, right? We just go to the center aisles of the grocery store and we eat everything that the longer the shelf life, the lower your life,
Where all
right?
the boxes, bags, and cans lie are in the middle of the grocery store. Boxes,
Yeah.
bags, and cans. So
Yes. And the longer the shelf stability, the more you are hurting your body. So because of our society is so used in eating processed foods is the major poison that we have nowadays. Vegetable oils, processed foods,
Trans fats, yeah.
and chlorine in your water with chlorine. So you have to be careful and be mindful and take action. So the processed foods and the excess of carbs, for your body to maintain the equilibrium, which is called homeostasis, your body has to process this excess of carbs that you are intaking every day. It's a lot. We don't need carbs that much. We do not need this excess of
the simple carbs, not your
Yes.
fruits and vegetables, but your refined carbs.
Yes, the processed foods and ultra processed foods. So we do not need these carbs. So the excess of these carbs is being stored as lipids and glucose. And how do you store that? You store that again in your liver, you store that in your pancreas, you store that in your fat cells. So in the beginning, your body is trying to keep the equilibrium and your fat cells are increasing in size.
Trying to protect you. It's forming a protective layer against all of the toxins that you've ingested or that you're fighting from the environment.
Yes. But when it's increasing in size, what happens is that it is inflaming already. That's the process of inflammation. So it's building inflammation by increasing the vascularity, by having hypoxia, a lot of what we called the inflammation cascade that I'm not going to describe here, but you have macrophages, you have neutrophils, you have vessels, vascularization, angiogenesis, which is new vascularization. Exactly. So that's the inflammation cascade, whoever wants to learn a little bit more. But you have all these molecules that are called tumor factor necrosis, which increases the incidence of cancer. You have interleucin 6. You have fibroblast production, which is all inflammation, but bad inflammation. At the point that the fat cells can't increase in size anymore, which is hypertrophy. So then what's going to happen? Your body is going to start producing more fat cells, and that's the hyperplasia. So, but again, it will be a point that you are exhausting your defense mechanisms from your body. And in that interim, what is happening is that your liver is overwhelmed and your pancreas is overwhelmed, your blood sugar is constantly high because, which is the prediabetes, developing diabetes type 2, and then your blood sugar constantly high leads to insulin secretion constantly high, and then the inflammation does not allow the insulin to work properly in the receptors of your body. So you keep increasing insulin, and you're not getting better anymore. And that's what we call insulin resistance.
Meaning that there's so much insulin in your body that your body can't process it. So much sugar, I meant to say, so much sugar in your body that your body can't process it, can't get rid of it. There's, as I understand it, there are receptors.
There are receptors
so that
in
you
your
exhaust
body.
those receptors, and so you have to find another place to put it, and so then it accumulates in the fat, and then you just become more and more resistant. Is that that makes sense?
You have receptors, but the chronic inflammation damaged the receptors.
Right.
So then your body is getting sick, and also the chronic inflammation is a stress. So when you are stressed, your body is stressed, you are releasing cortisol. When you release cortisol, you impair the function of insulin as well. So what happens is your body is not being able to fix the high glucose, high cortisol, and high insulin anymore. And that's when you start, and also your fatty liver, your liver cells are damaged, and the replacement of the pancreas by fat, your pancreatic cells are also damaged. So in the end, that's when you develop prediabetes, diabetes type 2, and this is happening in your whole body. So this is happening in your brain as well, which will lead to diabetes type 3. And on top of that, we have fat in your whole body, fat in your abdomen, and fat in your pelvis, which is where you have your prostate or your uterus or your urinary bladder. And that's a major cause of relaxation of the muscles, not having strength as well, because they are being replaced by fat as well, the muscles, because you are being sedentary, right? The majority of the times. So we work we work not standing up. The majority of us are sitting for 8 hours a day, and it's very detrimental for our body. And that's one of the reasons of losing urine. When you cough, when you laugh, the urinary incontinence or the fecal incontinence are also related to this huge amount of fat in your pelvis, inflammation, and fatty replacement of your muscles, which is the aging. And some people say, oh, it's normal aging. No, it is not normal aging. It's aging with extreme chronic inflammation. Your normal aging is building a functional, independent body with movement and with healthy eating and clean water and enjoying the things that the universe gives to you free daily that you could enjoy for the benefit of your life. So again, just recapping, we do have the types of body that are good for you, and one is the superficial subcutaneous visceral fat. And we have lots of fat that are not good for your body, that lead to chronic inflammation, that lead to high levels of blood sugar, high levels of insulin, high levels of inflammatory markers. So if you are going to discuss with your primary care provider, one good labs that you could ask, blood tests that you could ask your primary care provider would be your fasting glucose, your fasting insulin, markers for inflammation.
C-reactive protein, would that be a good one?
Yeah, C-reactive protein. And also, you want to check your hemoglobin A1C, because it's the marker that allows you to evaluate the average of your blood sugar for the last 3 months. Because sometimes people do like that. Oh, I have a blood sugar test tomorrow morning, so I'm going to fast today. I'm not going to eat anything. So tomorrow morning, your blood sugar might be normal. But when you do a hemoglobin A1C, you will have the real evaluation of how is your blood sugar for the last 3 months. And it's very important to know that.
For our listeners, I think that that's really important, because who hasn't thought that? I'm getting blood work on Monday. It's Friday, so I'll behave myself this weekend, not ingest a lot of extra sugar, so that my blood work and my A1C is going to be a really good result.
The A1C will not. The A1C will not.
You should have started 3 months ago.
The hemoglobin A1C will not lie. It's like going to the dentist and flossing the night before,
That's
right?
good to know.
It's not going to happen.
So that's really, you know what though, that's really great to know, because if I go and my A1C is really good, then I know that I like that. I know that is that's 3 months worth of data that they're fielding, and so it's accurate, an accurate picture of what I'm doing.
So it's really, really important to monitor, and do not fool yourself because you are skinny. That does not mean that you do not have visceral fat. So you have to pay attention to your lifestyle, because there are lots. I am a radiologist and I read cross-sectional exams every day. By cross-sectional, I say CT exams, CAT scans every day, and MRIs of the chest, the thorax, and the abdomen, the belly. And 95% of the population are overloaded with visceral fat. So there is a certain category of people that it's called TOFIs, thin outside, fat inside. These people, they have lots of visceral fat, despite the fact that they look like healthy and they look like skinny. So be mindful of the lifestyle you are living. And if you want to know better, you could have an MRI of your abdomen without intravenous contrast. And we're going to discuss this in our next episodes. Today is more like the foundation of visceral fat, the foundation of inflammation and insulin resistance. And really imprinting in your brain and in your heart that it is reversible. You can take the wheel of your car and you can drive to the destination health, optimized health, optimal life, functional independent body. It is not a miracle. It's not going to happen like in one day of making your changes. It is hard, but choose your hard. Do you prefer going to the strength training, or would you rather be in a wheelchair? You have to think of you like, I see myself right now. I have battled with weight loss my whole life. And I see, and now I am in this journey of reversing visceral fat, and I'm happy and grateful that I am getting my results. But it's like 9 months, that 9 to 10 months, or even a year that I'm working on that. And I can see results now, but I couldn't see results up to 6 months, right? Like results that I could put my hands on my muscle and feel them. I was feeling better in energy. I was feeling better in my clothes. I was feeling better in performance. But
Which is a
again,
great payoff, isn't it? I mean,
yes,
that in and of itself, because once you start to reduce inflammation, again, because
everything.
inflammation happens also in your gut, where you're in, where a lot of
Yep,
your, it's just your second brain, and
yep.
where your mental health is also affected. So small changes are not
Okay.
insignificant. They're huge, and so it's, as you said, it's better to
Now,
start on this road, start now, because whatever's been going on has been going on. It's not a race. It's not, and it's important, I think, to understand that this isn't a diet or
nope.
an interim sort of thing you're doing. This really needs to be a whole lifestyle shift, in
This is
term, if
your
you
why.
really want to get your health under control. It has to be sort of an all encompassing change in lifestyle. So, and so once you get used to that, it becomes a habit, right? And once you
Yes,
have that habit, it doesn't feel so hard. It feels like part of your schedule. It feels like something you
yes,
just do. But getting
yes.
started, yes, and I recognize it's not easy to make that shift, but it's possible, as you said, Anna. And then once you do, um, everything else in your life, I think, really just starts to improve, because again, with your health, your mental health, your physical vitality, and that all affects how you feel about yourself, and physically, mentally, and spiritually. And that's all good stuff. So,
Yes. So again, like Mary said, it's hard to start. It is hard to keep going, but you have to sit with yourself and sit with your heart and your soul and really ask yourself your why. You have to connect with your why. My why on starting this journey was my dad. My dad died in 2021, and he was a surgeon, brilliant, brilliant, very workaholic, like all doctors, right? And he died with very obese, extreme amount of visceral fat, a huge amount of inflammation in his body, developing an autoimmune disease because of that. And he couldn't breathe. His brain was there, and it was a huge suffering. And I was able to see his CT exam of the chest, abdomen, and pelvis. And my dad barely had muscles. He was 80 years old, and he had what we call sarcopenia, which is your muscles, they just go away. They just go away and they are replaced by fat. So
loss of
when,
muscle mass. Yeah. Mhm.
yes. So when I saw that, I connected to my why. How could I help others? Or how could I be good for me if I am not functional and independent? So my why daily, when I wake up and I'm like, I really don't want to go to the gym now, is like, yes, I do. Because I want to be able to grow older. It's not about losing weight only. It's not about looking good in a pair of new pants. It is not. It's like I want to grow older, and I want to be able to carry the bags from the grocery store. I want to grow older and I want to be able to walk my dog. I want to grow older and play with my grandkids and have a vacation that I go wherever I want and I am able to visit the places by walking. You know, like these churches that they have long stairs. I cannot do that if I am in a wheelchair. I do not want to go to a nursing home if I can prevent that. And mainly because diabetes mellitus type 3, which was
Mm,
a name that came from the Mayo Clinic, is dementia. I want to grow older and I want to know who I am. I
sure.
want to know who I am until the day I die. And everything and of course, there is the plan of God, there is the plan of the soul, but everything that is in my power, I am going to do. And I invite each one of you right now to come with us, learn the strategies, implement them. Use me and use Mary as your accountability partners, holding your hands to build the body and the life that you deserve. Not bury yourself in an ocean of fat that is just killing you every day by chronic inflammation, stress, cortisol, blood sugar, insulin resistance, and you name it. So, for that, I don't know if Mary has something else to say, but in our next episode, we are going to keep going.
We are. I guess I just wanted to add, as you were mentioning your why, and I was thinking, what is my why? I think my why, well, first of all, I was a chubby child. I was very chubby, and I have one of my brothers had me jogging when I was 10, 12, maybe more like 12, somewhere between 10 and 12. And as I grew and got older, I thinned out. But I would say for me, it probably started because I wanted to look good, I think. But and I've always been interested in nutrition. When I studied at Cornell, and my certification or my degree is in ornamental horticulture and floral design, but I was very interested in nutrition as well. So I took a lot of nutrition. I just didn't want to spend the extra time to get my degree in it. But I've always been interested in nutrition, and which again I've said before turned out to be a huge blessing because it kept me on this path, and so exercise has been important. But fast forward to all of my life experience, and then the loss of Brian, having this lifestyle in place for the most part it has been such a blessing. I don't think I would be sitting here if I hadn't had some of those tools at my disposal that we're going to talk about in the next episode. But and so now, having this lifestyle in place, I just want to live. I do not want to be in pain. I don't want to. I'm 64. I feel good. I want to be 80 and I want to feel good. I don't want to be, in pain. I don't want to be complaining to my children and my grandchildren how sick and how old I am, and all of those things. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I just want to live while I'm alive. And so that's the point, right? What's the
Yes,
point if we're just here and we don't know who we are and we're in constant pain? Fighting pain is it takes so much energy. If I
and
can avoid
pain,
that, I will do that at all costs. So
yep,
um,
and pain is a sign of inflammation. So
yes.
that, yeah. So again, like Mary said, she wants to leave. I want to leave. I'm sure whoever is listening to us right now, you also want to leave. And on the next episode, we're going to discuss some of the strategies that you could use that are for free from the universe, available daily for you, that you could use to start your journey on reversing inflammation in your body and burning visceral fat. Because the main purpose is to be living.
With grace.
Yes.
Yes. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, but please do come back. I hope you hit the subscribe button because you'll get a notification that our newest and latest greatest, I hope, episode is out, and we would be so thrilled and excited to have you come back and spend some more time with us. So on that note, we want to wish you lots of love and peace and grace, and we will see you back here very soon. Take good care.